Hi everyone. Today I'm going to examine the problem of the scale and how it factors into the government and its ability to effectively operate. Using the concepts that we were introduced to this week in lecture, I'm going to examine Thomas Hobbes' form of government and compare that to Aristotle's form of government, and really how that pertains to American government, how that works into what we are used to. As we learned this week, Thomas Hobbes, his form of government was considered an artificial form of government. It was intended for a large sovereign, and government was the solution to anarchy. Is often referred to as the modern state. On the other hand, Aristotle, it was intended for small sovereigns. It was referred to as the natural form of government, like a family, and it really focused on republicanism. As we know, the United States has a republican form of government. And according to lectures, it was interesting to learn that due to the size, the scale, and the definition, the United States really shouldn't have a republic because we have much too big of a sovereign. So once again, I decided to take a closer look at Hobbes and Aristotle to determine why a republic can fit the scale of America and how the theories of these philosophers allow for our government to be a republic. So first, I want to address Thomas Hobbes in an article that I found really interesting by Theodore Christoph, and it's titled The Invention of Hobbesian Anarchy. In this, it gives a definition for what Hobbes' state should be. And I'm going to read this because it's a little easier. The central feature of Hobbesian state is that establishment of a permanent social order and a stable governing system whose internal constitution provides an enduring political association that is self-contained and does not need support from outside. So we really shouldn't have to depend on international relations in America if we actually have a true Hobbesian government. We can kind of argue that both sides of the coin. We don't necessarily have to have international relations. We could really just be self-reliant, self-dependent. But as we know, imports, exports, the tourist trade, all of those provide for our economy. So it's, like I said, a two-sided coin with that argument. Interestingly, I found an article that's listed below here by Jay Laird's that talks about the fact that Hobbes didn't think very highly of Aristotle, and he actually thought that Aristotle's view should be more dead than what it was. But it's interesting to think because without the combination of Aristotle and Hobbes' theory on politics, we couldn't have the American government in the way that we do. The last article that I chose to read for this was by Jill Frank. It's titled Citizens, Slaves, and Foreigners, Aristotle on Human Nature. This is interesting. I like to read Aristotle's work and things on Aristotle. He advocates that as nature as it pertains to our government. Nature really is going to set the boundaries for the influence and interference of our government. And it's interesting because Aristotle kind of continues on saying that human nature is always changing. Thus, the government should always be changing as well to accommodate to these new influences on humans. So if you take a moment and look at that, Hobbes' form of government is necessary for the size of America. Our sovereign is large, and it also provides for a civil association. We all agree to obey laws and carry out life in a certain way. And Aristotle is going to bring in that evolving and changing needs into our society. So as we see the need to develop international relationships, Aristotle is going to allow us to change to fit this new climate that we are in. Both of these political theories apply to American government, and I thought it was very interesting to see kind of how this development has, in Western culture, has evolved into what American government is. I thought this was an interesting topic. I had fun working with all of you this semester, and I'm glad I got to see a couple of you and put your names with your faces, and I look forward to listening to your lectures. Good luck in the future, guys.